Hey there, happy Sunday. I hope you're having a lovely Sunday. And kickstarting this week on Karishma Connect is Hemangi Dhir, founder of Botnal. Now, it's pretty much a green week on Karishma Connect. We're talking all about clean beauty, clean products, organic skincare, and even the next episode is pretty much in line with the same. So, enjoy. Find out more about these products. They're absolutely amazing. Himangi's products are made out of pure natural ingredients, and she tells me more about how she came up with the concept of having gender neutral skincare products that are organic and made out of such rich ingredients, which she actually deep dives into. So you also get to know what's behind those products in detail. And she talks to me about how she set up all of that. She also gives me marketplace tips for young entrepreneurs, and a whole lot more. So go check it out. And until the next one, stay tuned. This is Karishma. I'll be back every Sundays and Thursdays with a fresh episode for you. Thank you so much, Himangi, for joining me on this episode of Karishma Connect. It's a pleasure to come across your story, and I look forward to getting to know a lot about Bottle, especially because I am very much personally invested in eco-friendly skincare and these kind of products, which is why I'm also looking forward to trying Bottle, which I will very soon. And I can't wait to unwrap all of this on this podcast. Thank you once again.
Well, thank you so much, Karishma, for having me on here today. I'm really excited for you to review, try the products, and give me your honest opinion on how you actually feel about them.
Absolutely, will do. But before I do that, I would love to know about that journey. Tell me about the journey so far. How did you arrive where you are today, and what makes it special to be here?
Um, we were just talking a few moments ago how everything is bred out of passion.
Yeah.
And I think that's how it kind of started for me as well. I was in a totally different field. I was actually doing corporate finance.
Oh,
I was working in America. Yeah, I was with a financial consulting company there.
okay.
Moved back to India, and then was started working with my dad. And I was just like something that I didn't really enjoy. And then just at the onset of COVID, I was actually planning to get into a different line altogether, a different industry rather.
Mm.
And then this just started as something that I just got curious about.
Mm.
And the next thing you know it, I had these chemistry books because we had so much of ample time on our hands that, I was like, okay, what else can I make myself learn next? And it just started with like basic DIYs,
Huh.
homemade turmeric packs to full-fledged formulations of like making moisturizers, serums,
Mm.
beauty products. And then the next thing you know it, I was formulating them for friends and family. And
Mm.
then they all had the same sort of idea that why don't you start this something as a full-time project and get an online D2C brand. So it took me almost about 2 years to kind of put it all together, and then Botnell was born.
That's a lovely journey, but I'm sure there would have been challenges, right? It wouldn't have been as easy as it sounds. And I say this because I know I have a homegrown brand right here at my home itself, and it
Yeah.
takes a lot, and it's a skincare brand as well. It takes a lot for us to develop that kind of pull towards it, that kind of consumer consumers are so caught up in the usual brands that they use, it takes a while for them to gain awareness about these. How did you kind of navigate that?
So it is sort of because like this is a field where even if I couldn't even imagine it in like my bestest dream ever that this was the field that I would actually choose to live out my entire career in. But it just so happened that when you want something so bad that just like you try, you give it your all, and you figure out like from finding a manufacturer, because I was already formulating, but like because I'm in the cosmeceutical space, I needed FDA approvals in order to launch my brand in the market. I
Yeah.
couldn't just do it by curating products in my kitchen.
Yeah.
So contacting them on Google, asking friends, family, asking any and all contacts that I had, like to sort of suggest me people. And
Mm.
then, yeah, it's like when you really want something, you'll figure out different ways to
Yeah.
overcome any and every challenge that kind of comes in your way. And there you have it.
And how did your previous experience help you in that journey?
So I think that when I was doing consulting, financial consulting, it usually gave me a lot of exposure in talking to people.
Mm,
So I already knew how to kind of navigate that space. And coming from a finance background, which is completely, totally dominated by men,
mm,
the tonality of how I voiced and the pushiness with what I sort of came forward with was not the usual feminine sort. And this industry is again a lot more dominated and led by females. So
mm.
people were any which way willing to listen, and they were like open, and they were like, yeah, whatever you want, like let us know your formulations, what can we help you with, what kind of sampling do you want to get done. So it wasn't as hard as it was to navigate the financial industry.
Yeah, for sure. And then what's
Yeah.
unique about Botnal? What have you made sure that remains your USP across?
So one of the biggest gaps currently in the market is inclusivity,
Mm,
right?
mm,
People, specifically in India, this is something which is already upcoming at the West, in the West, but in the East and within India, people are not really focusing on, when you hear of skincare, you think of beauty, you think of women,
mm,
but
mm.
anyone who has skin needs skincare.
Yes.
So that means, yeah, men do too. So I have tried to pillar my brand on it being 100% gender neutral, focusing on everyone. So closing the gap, offering them affordable prices. So my most expensive product is 799 rupees, and it starts at 299. So I wanted to offer them
But
sustainable, eco-friendly skincare with the right ingredients and make it as inclusive as possible.
which is a rarity to find, I must say, because most of the eco-friendly products, and I remember long back discussing this with somebody that who was also a sustainable brand owner, that it's very difficult when all the eco-friendly products are coming at a very high price. Consumers aren't going to be able to afford it. So here's a brand.
Exactly. Yeah, how do you promote sustainability without it being affordable, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this is sustainable, but it's out of my reach. So then that just remains like an idea and concept which is far fetched. So I didn't want to kind of do that. I wanted to bring the right ingredients
Mm.
rather than having 100 ingredients or only one ingredient per product. I wanted to give them a right mix of ingredients that the consumers could use and make it as eco-friendly as possible for them at affordable prices.
And tell me, what does sustainability mean to you over the years? What has it come to? What's your definition for sustainability?
So, sustainability isn't something that happens overnight, right? Like Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yeah.
So it is a practice that you have to, as hard as it sounds, right? So like let's just talk about the basics of procuring raw material or the basics of like packaging, for instance.
Yeah.
Um, there are not many people who will supply you with, eco-friendly, let's say, recyclable bottles,
Mm,
or you want to do glass, that makes the product more expensive, or if you want to, which is now the new thing which is developing at the moment, is plastic made out of sugarcane. So
mm,
these things are currently in very nascent stages where people, industries are working on them, but very few people are actually bringing them out in the market.
yeah.
So to understand that this is your vision and your value, and you have to kind of stand by it. So even if you roll out a product, 8 months later rather than 3 months later, it's worth the wait, because at least you'll be offering your customers, biodegradable ingredients. So I choose to avoid ingredients which are non-biodegradable.
Mm,
So I would do 100% biodegradable ingredients. I go with as sustainable or recyclable packaging as possible, or if the packaging can be upcycled,
yeah.
as like jewelry holders, coin holders, or something like that, or if they can send it back to me and I can put it back in my manufacturing process and get them refilled.
Mm, mm,
Um, so it's something which is that you have to uphold for many, 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 many years to come. And with advancements in technology and processes, it's something that you have to sort of uphold and just stand by as much as possible. So it's definitely not something which is like, oh, just for 3 months I am now into sustainability.
Right.
So I'm launching just two products which are sustainable, and rest everything is 100% plastic. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's just something that has to be a value, and if it's not a value instilled within the brand from day one,
Mm.
it can't be something that you can do after.
So you do believe it's something that needs to be prioritized right from the foundation.
Yeah, 100%. It's just like learning your ABCs. Like I can't form sentences if I don't know the ABCs.
Yeah, yeah, very true. And then you're also operating in a very competitive market right now, right? Because you've got these homegrown brands coming out everywhere, especially in India, I know. Here also in Dubai, there are so many that we see. So how do you kind of navigate that situation? How do you deal with competition in this kind of a space?
So the industry in itself, and I think this is a very good question, and a few panels that have gone on, we've all spoken about this.
Mm.
Um, the industry in itself is saturated, or it is really competitive,
Mm.
but there is a lot of space to flourish in your niche. So I can barely count 10, 12 brands who are in the eco-friendly, gender-neutral space,
Yeah,
right? So it's like if that is a value that you want, this is the brand that you come to.
yeah,
So it's not really like clean beauty or clean skincare should be a non-negotiable. It shouldn't be an option anymore, which should be like, okay, do I want a chemical product or do I want a clean product? So yeah, in the clean space, there are a lot of upcoming brands, but for me, I think that is like I shouldn't have to be like if there are 100 brands, all of them should be clean.
yeah,
Now, out of these 100 brands, which one is offering me what I truly resonate with the most?
yeah,
So even though it's saturated, but I think within the niche, there is a lot of scope of growth because that's where the industry is moving towards. And I feel like with the new uh, Gen Zs,
mm,
they are like definitely you very demanding and very authentic. Like this is what we want, being digital natives. So they're really sort of forming the way different brands are now approaching to bring new products in the market.
But what's been your secret to finding that niche? Did you always know that it was supposed to be a gender neutral? How did you arrive at that? What are some
Um,
ways in which people could actually find that niche?
I think for me, I think it all started with before I got onto the DIY stuff. I was actually, so I told you before, right? So I was in the US. My skin was flawless for
Mm,
whatever reason. And I wasn't even a skincare buff at that time. I was just like a regular college student. And then went on and got a job there. And like for, I don't know, maybe it was lifestyle, maybe I was walking a lot more. And
mm,
then I moved back to India. I think the pollution, the environment, the food, it's got more masala and all of that
yeah,
stuff in it. So it just kind of started giving me a lot of blemishes, acne. So I
mm,
started seeing all these doctors, and it would work. So I would apply these creams, and everything would work. But as soon as I stopped applying them, all the issues just sort of came back to my face, and I'm like, okay, what is it? What is it that I'm doing which is totally, completely wrong? And I think that's where I kind of started reading about ingredients
mm,
and what made those specific ingredients special.
mm,
And I think that's how I started realizing that this is the niche that I want to be in, which is focusing on minimalism, because that's what I wanted for myself.
yeah,
So it all started with the idea of what I want for myself first, and then see what's working around me. And my dad is a skincare buff, so if I'm applying something on my face, he wants the same thing too. So I was just like, okay, how can we have inclusivity wherein like it's not his and her, it's ours together. Everyone in the family can use the same product.
yeah.
So that's why I was like, okay, why can't we make it gender neutral and offer them the right ingredients that I would want my family to use?
Yeah, yeah. I think you hold a very important point there, right? Like knowing your own space before you get into the other person's space is very important. I think it allows you to find that USP or that niche very easily. Just looking around you and connecting with things that you can often be the secret. Tell me your 3 tips for better skin.
So have you heard the saying? I think everyone has beauty inside and out.
Yeah.
I think what they truly mean is if you're eating the right kind of things, if you have a healthy diet and you
Yeah.
have some sort of physical exercise and you are having water,
Yeah.
honestly, that is the best skincare tip I can give you.
Yeah.
Coming from a skincare brand, for me, skincare is maintaining the healthy barrier by moisturizing on the surface, but also if you're eating healthy and you can fix your blemishes, you can fix fine lines and wrinkles
Mm.
using skincare. But till the time your gut health isn't fine, no matter what you apply topically, it's going to keep on coming back again and again and again.
Very true. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's the best skincare tip I can give anyone. Eat right, stay fit, and apply your creams.
You are what you eat. I wrote an entire thesis on that, and it's something I
Yes.
completely resonate with. All right. I think you've given me the highlight tip there. Can you tell me something about your ingredients specifically and why do you choose them?
So I actually spend a lot of time just researching and reading about different ingredients. I think majority of my time goes there before I even begin working on a formulation. And I think one of the first ingredients that I wanted to bring about, which is now also kind of popular, is bakuchiol. It's actually a plant-based alternative for retinol.
Okay.
So again, in terms of having a gap in the market, there are not a lot of products which are catered to sensitive skin. So retinol actually really sort of acts up if you have sensitive skin. It gives you dry patches. A lot of people could also be allergic to it. So bakuchiol is actually a very good alternative, even for pregnant moms, for new moms, where you can't use retinol, right? Because it gets absorbed into your bloodstream. Whereas bakuchiol you can use twice a day. It mimics the exact same chemical compound or chemical formula that retinol would give you. So why not use that instead of
Yeah.
retinol?
Yeah.
Any which way, the results are similar.
Um,
Another very cool ingredient, very unique ingredient that I use is prickly pear. It's actually a cactus. So that has very high vitamin K in it.
Okay.
So what that actually does is it helps, and it's in one of my creams, which is specially formulated for your neck. So we see first signs of aging on your neck, because we don't ever pay attention to our hands and our neck, and that's where the wrinkles, the sagging sort of starts first. So prickly pear actually helps in collagen production and loss of elasticity because of having fatty acids. So those are my two very sort of special ingredients, and there's another one. It's called bearberry extract.
Okay.
So it's actually a natural version of arbutin.
Okay.
So arbutin is known for skin brightening. So bearberry does the exact same thing. So I have it in a product which combats hyperpigmentation.
Hmm. Hmm.
So a lot of people in India face, dark spots,
The
hyperpigmentation.
common
So
issue.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And that's what was most interesting because even when I saw your website, I saw these bunch of really different ingredients as opposed to what's being used usually, which is why I wanted to ask you very upfront about, because you know best about what these ingredients are and what they do. But that's lovely. And then how do you adapt to different skin types and to different cultural backgrounds as well, because we are in a land of diversity. Does that at some point, as a skincare brand and as a clean beauty brand, does diversity come in mind during the manufacturing process as well?
Definitely. So just to specifically first talk about skin types, right? So in a very broad sense, it's you have your dry skin types, you have your oily combination, and sensitive. So
Yeah.
sensitive could be just purging from any sort of ingredient which you don't know, rosacea, psoriasis. These are all common sort of eczema. These are all very common sort of sensitive skin type problems that you could have. Um, Now let's delve a little bit deeper into cultural backgrounds, right? So depending upon the race or ethnicity that you have, the melanin production in the skin changes. So white skin, like light skin versus darker skin. So
Mm,
light skin people have different issues. So they are more sensitive to photo aging, which means premature aging, fine lines, wrinkles.
mm,
Versus darker skin type, they're more prone to dark spots,
mm,
discoloration, hyperpigmentation because of higher melanin production. So
mm,
we try to keep everything in mind. So my age group goes from, for Botnal, goes from anywhere from about 18 to
mm.
about 65. So I've tried to include different products for different skin problems that might happen,
Yeah.
while also keeping in mind, if you have a lighter skin type, you may suffer from dryness as well as fine lines and wrinkles. So we have an anti-aging kit just formulated for that. And if you have darker skin types, then you definitely have you're more prone to hyperpigmentation.
Mm,
So we have an essence, a night cream specifically catered to that.
mm, mm. Okay, that's interesting. And tell me, starting up this brand, starting up something like that, already from what you speak, there's so much of research that you've done around this. It's not just about figuring out the formulation, right? What are the kind of other skill sets, I'm curious to know, that you have had to develop as part of setting this brand up, especially in an online world?
A good, interesting question.
Yeah.
Um, so I feel like this isn't something that I did or learned because I was doing this. I
Mm,
feel like it was a part of growing up. And if anyone who studied in the US, they know that majority of what you teach yourself is sort of what stays with you, and that's one of the major things that you do learn
yeah.
is the power of self-learning.
Yeah.
So if I had a project, if I wanted to know about something, I would open up Google. I would go to the library, get a book,
Mm,
and I would just start reading anywhere. And
mm,
I think that's just something that I became, and I still am. And it's not just about skincare. Any other topic that I even 1% curious about, I'll just either look up articles, journals, start googling whatever I can find on it, and then get my hands on the best book that I can, and then just start reading. So I think it all sort of comes from that habit, which I already have. So
mm,
for me, reading and researching was actually the fun bit.
mm.
Was like, wow, like, oh my God, like, did you know this even happens? Like, did you know you needed to start skincare at the age of 25? And I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? So stuff like that, I was very happy to learn about. Like,
Mm.
it was not, and I think this is one thing that does happen when you do find your calling or your passion.
Yeah, very
It
true.
doesn't seem like work. It's just like something that you're like, okay, I need hours and hours and hours. I can just continue reading about it.
Yeah, very true. Very true. And then tell me, as an entrepreneur, what is that one tip or that one hack to, starting your own brand that you closely hold on to?
Um, know your customer. I think before I launched, I already had a good understanding because know your product, know your customer. I think they're two very important things. If you don't know what you're selling or bringing into the market, that's going to be a major challenge for you to focus on at a later stage.
Yeah.
And customer is something that you do learn and realize once you've already stepped into the market. But
Mm,
for me, because I was already sampling for friends and family, I had collected a lot of customer data around me from different age groups,
mm,
already telling me, oh, I don't have anything for, open pores, for example. And I was like, okay, let me go back to my drawing board. Let me figure out what are the best ingredients in the natural space that I can kind of figure out to give you a product solely made for open pores. So stuff like that. So instead of jumping on a trend
mm.
that, oh, vitamin C is the next best thing, so all brands are now producing some version of vitamin C.
Yeah.
For me, it was knowing and asking my customers what they wanted,
Mm,
and the ability to formulate on
mm,
my own is something that I actually hold really, really closely. So
mm,
I'm very particular about textures, look, feel, what it does. So I go back again and again. So it takes me at least about 12 to 18 months to launch new products every single time, because I'm just working and working and reworking
Yeah.
on a certain version of what I want.
Yeah. And that's interesting that you put that much of time, because I know it's not easy. I know that not every entrepreneur is willing to give that much of time to a formulation. Normally, people are in the rush of let me launch this and let me not, So it
Right.
takes a lot out of you, I'm sure, to kind of hold the patience and say, no, I want the best product out there.
Yeah, I feel like my R&D department gets so tired. They're like, oh my God, again. I'm like, this has to be reduced just 1%. And they're like, I said, okay, make me another sample and send me that, and or I'll come.
Yeah.
And then it'll be reduced 1%. And I'm like, isme to kuch bhi nahi kara. Let's increase this. So I think they're tired and fed up of me, but I feel like this is, if I can't get this right, if I can't get my product right, and if I don't know my customer well enough, then later on, right, like these are all values which go on since day one.
Yeah.
So if you have this correct, later on as you grow, these aren't going to be issues that you kind of have to worry about, because it
Very
will
true.
be instilled not just in you as the founder, but also in your team.
Yeah.
And you do need an empowered team as you grow, because I am one person, I can't be everywhere.
Yeah.
Uh, so everybody has the same sort of value that you do.
Yeah.
So that's just habits from day one. If I have him, my team is kind of going to learn it from me.
Yeah, yeah, very true. And it's something you echo. In fact, in my past two podcasts, one of them was an interior designer, and she said the same thing. She said, KYC, know your customer first, because that's what's going to take you. And absolutely echo the same thoughts. Then my next question to you is, Hemangi, tell me, you're also operating in a market that is largely also driven by conscious Gen Z and millennial audiences, right? What are your tips for them to keep in mind when they are choosing the right kind of skincare product? What should they look
So
at?
I think, I'm a millennial. So for me, it would, I think we all think alike, right? Like it would, our focus is more on minimalism. I
Absolutely.
think now moving forward, right, it's like having the right kind of ingredients with fewer steps. We all want the Korean glass skin, but we don't want the 11-step routine. So
Right.
it's like, how do you get the most of having a 3 or 4 step routine in terms of ingredients
Hmm.
while not going and overextending yourself, every single month and going overboard buying all these products. And I think for Gen Zs, I feel like they give me advice. I don't give them advice on anything. They're already so authentic, and they're actually now making a lot of changes in the product market to come, especially in the beauty industry. We're already seeing changes. I was actually reading an article which sort of asked 1,000 Gen Zs, would you prefer wearing makeup, not wearing makeup on a daily basis? And one third of them actually sort of came out and said, we prefer wearing no makeup.
Wow.
For daily wear, what we want is, so I think that's sort of brought about, your light moisturizer with SPF, that little tint.
Yeah.
So you want that, yeah. So it's like either no makeup at all, or I'll do that.
Yeah.
So their focus is gone away from like your full coverage foundations to little minimal coverage. So that's something sort of to learn from, because that means the focus does come on skincare.
Yes.
So if you're focusing on skincare, and I think they're all talking about how the brand has to be a lot more transparent, and I think that's one thing that I truly advocate. So whatever videos I try to do to connect to my customers, I do tell them, when talk about clean ingredients,
Mm,
don't take the brand's word.
mm.
Research the ingredients. We're all required by the FDA, by law, to give all the ingredients on our bottles. So go read it, see if it's working for you. Is it not working for you? If it's not, find ingredients, find a brand according to the ingredients that do work for you.
What is that one step in a skincare routine that you think is very important?
Oh gosh, I
Mm.
don't even think I
Go
could
for
tell you one.
multiple times if you want.
I mean, it's like choosing my favorite parent. I don't think I can do that. One would get upset if I chose the other. Um, but I think it's like if you don't wash your face, right? You have to wash your face. So you do need that perfect face wash. And like if you don't apply a moisturizer, then how are you going to get the hydration? I would say ditch the serum, right? So if I had to pick and choose, I would pick face wash, moisturizer, and SPF.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Yeah. Those are very important indeed.
Yeah.
My last question to you is tell me, how does Botnal fit into that scheme of things? What are the top 3 products that people must first go ahead and try with Botnal?
My actually number one bestseller is the neck cream. So anyone suffering from collagen or loss of, just skin is sort of sagging, or you're starting to see a little fine lines, get your hands on the neck cream. It's brilliant.
Okay.
My mom used that straight up for like 6 months, and I can't even tell you the difference that I've seen just like at home.
Wow. Okay.
Just on her.
Yeah.
So it's really really nice to see that right in front of your eyes.
Yeah.
So neck cream is definitely my number one, and it's completely fragrance free.
Okay.
So definitely up for the neck cream. I think the second product that I really talk about is the night cream.
Okay.
It's called Wings, and it's got bakuchiol extract in it. So it's a lightweight moisturizer. So again, fragrance free. So I recommend these 2 products 100%. I'm also launching in the next 2 weeks 3
Lovely.
new products. I'm launching 2 new face washes,
Okay.
a moisturizer with mineral sunscreen.
That's lovely. Okay. And is
Yeah, so that will definitely be something else to try. So a gel face wash for oily skin types, a cream face wash. That's something very new. It's actually a cream, but it's a face wash.
Yeah.
So if you have dry skin, that's something that would be a very good addition.
Yeah. And are these all available for people? Do you offer global shipping, or is it just in India? How's it?
So as of right now, I do have a website for global shipping as well. It's called Distacart.
Okay.
We sell via them also all over globally.
Okay.
Within India, I have my website. I'm also on Nykaa, Amazon, and Flipkart.
That's lovely. Then I am going to recommend listeners to definitely try it out. And thank you so much for sharing your story behind it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.